Hi, this is Brad Griffith. I'm excited to have you join us for our website workshop series hosted at Columbus Metropolitan Library. This is your pre-workshop prep presentation. I wanted to walk you through a few things that you need to have prepared ahead of time before we get started. My company is Buckeye Innovation. We're a software engineering design firm. We designed and developed the Columbus Metropolitan Library website, as well as their intranet and a number of other sites for them. They're one of my favorite clients to work with. We work with a lot of other nonprofits and local governments. I've built a lot of sites over the years. I started many years ago. I'll talk to you a little bit about that in our first workshop, some of the things that I did. All right, so goals for the workshop series. I want to make sure that we go over these regularly. Number one, we need to make sure that you can, for whatever site it is that you're building, clearly communicate your value proposition. This means you can clearly articulate what is it that you want to accomplish with this site. So if it's a for-profit business, what is it that makes your business valuable? Why is it that someone should purchase from you rather than someone else? If it's a nonprofit organization that you're building this for, what purpose does your nonprofit serve? What impact are you having on the community? If you're focusing on donors, what are you doing to help donors have their intended impact on the community? Any sort of way that you can communicate clearly what is the value of what it is you do as a business, as a nonprofit, even as an individual. Some of you may be building a portfolio website or a personal website to help you get a job or help you upskill. Maybe this is just an example website, something that you're building to learn some skills. But you need to know what is it that you're trying to communicate. And if you can't clearly communicate that in words, verbally to someone, it's going to be very hard to put together a website that clearly communicates that value. So clear communication of your value proposition is very important. Next, we want to make sure that we are building actionable, measurable websites. A website that works well for an organization is one that when someone comes to that, they are called to action. They are driven to take some action on your website. That's clicking. We'll talk about this in our content strategy workshop. But that means that they're clicking on a link, clicking on a button, they're purchasing something, signing up for an email list, filling out a lead generation form, some sort of form that captures their information and tells you that they're interested in working with you in some way. So they need to be actionable and they need to be measurable. We want websites where each page view is captured. We will use Google Analytics as our tool for this. Google Analytics is a free tool that measures website traffic. It tells you how many visitors you've had, how many visits from each of those visitors, where they are geographically, what type of browser are they using. Are they using Chrome or Safari? Are they on a mobile phone or a desktop computer? Where are they in the country? Are they in our city or are they visiting from somewhere else? It gives us a lot of really good data to help us understand the traffic on our site. So actionable, they take action, and we're measuring those actions. What is it that they're doing? We capture that data so that we can continuously improve our websites. And then third, which is probably the main thing that you were planning to get out of the workshop series, I would guess, we want you to have confidence to maintain your site and grow your business or organization. So as you are coming to this workshop series, you are probably trying to build some new skills. I want you to come out of the series more confident in your skills, more confident that you know enough about the web and enough about your website in particular that you can maintain it and help your business, your organization to grow through the use of your website. So that confidence hopefully will be better coming out of the workshop series. All right, I've got two things that I want to walk you through today that are activities you need to do ahead of time. Before we get to that, I want to make sure that everyone picks just one website to build in this workshop series. Many of you probably have multiple ideas. You might have one or more businesses. Maybe you have a business and a nonprofit, or you might want to build a personal website and a business website. We need to pick one so that we can really focus our efforts. So I want to ask you to pick one website, know what that site is that you're going to build. So from that, I want you we're going to do two different exercises, one around benchmark websites and the other questionnaire that you'll fill out. So for a benchmark website, think about, let's just pick an example, for instance. Let's say I have a nonprofit organization that is going to serve young mothers, first-time parents trying to help educate them about all of the things they may need to know as a parent. So I might look at what are other organizations. So we want to find a benchmark website. What is an organization that I feel like does a really good job educating first-time parents or educating parents, or maybe even just serving that same population? So I would pick a website, pick an organization that I really respect, and I'm going to go to their website, and I'm going to go through this process. First of all, you'd make a copy of this Google Docs template. Let's see, I can actually pull this up so we can see. So this Google Docs template here. You will go to File and make a copy, and this will make a copy. You can put that into your own Google Drive, so you need a Google account to do this. Or you could download it if you'd prefer. You can download it as a Microsoft Word document so that you can work with it locally. But what this template has, so we want you to pick at least one benchmark website. You could do a couple if you'd like, but find a website that you feel like serves a similar purpose to your business or organization. Hopefully there's one out there. If it's, the Little Bottoms Free Store might be the great local organization. Maybe they would be my benchmark organization. So I would go to their website, put the URL of that website in here, and then I'm going to look at their homepage. And first on the homepage, so let's look at Buckeye Innovation's website. Not that website. BuckeyeInnovation.com. So I am going to look at the website. I want you to do your best on this. It's okay if it's not perfect, and we can go over these in the workshop series. But we're going to start off. I've got a relatively slow connection here as I'm recording, so sorry for the delays. So on the Buckeye Innovation website, I'm going to look at each component. So on the homepage, I'm going to benchmark the homepage and then at least 2 interior pages. So I'd look on the homepage, what are the headlines? And I would copy this headline, and I would actually paste this in as, or I can do this and I can paste a headline. I might do Command-Shift-V to paste without any formatting. And I'd keep going through and I'd look at all the headlines on here, and I would copy and paste these. So I'm going to paste it in here. And I keep doing this with all the headlines on the page. So I can grab this headline, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to keep going through doing that. Images and photos. So at the top, there's a photo. It's maybe a little bit hard to see. It's just to give you a little bit of a feel of the company. Photo of the team. So team at work. Let's see, we've got our logo, we've got icons. So one icon for each service offered. So I need to come up with those icon images. And this, I'm actually, I could even just literally list out what are the icons if I want to, but I don't. And you can be a little bit general if you want. So down here, these are project examples. So for those project examples, photo of each, let's see, screenshot of each portfolio site. And so on and so forth. You keep going through those. What are all the photos, images, and videos? There should be, I don't know, we're working on a new video. Here's a video that's about our core values. So let's see, company core values video. Okay, and let's see. So if you get a list of all those, that's great. Now the copy. Now let me take a step back for a second and tell you the reason that we're doing all this is ultimately I'm going to get a list of all of the copy that's on this competitor website, this website that's similar to the site that I'm building. And what we're going to do with that is then you can replace each of these with content for your own site. But first we want to benchmark some other website, a website that you like, or a competitor, someone who's doing something similar, an organization that is aspirational, you would like to be similar to them someday. That's what we're trying to do here. Calls to action. So what we're looking at for the calls to action, right at the top of the page, we've got start a project. So I'm going to just jot down start a project. And that's a lead form. When you click on that, it will collect a lead. It collects information from someone so that we could work together. View our portfolio is another call to action here. So calls to action, we will get into these in more detail, but for now, calls to action, these would be buttons, or it could be an actual form. Sign up for Buckeye Bites, that's a newsletter sign up. That form is a call to action. It's asking you to do something. It's calling you to action. It's saying take action. Newsletter sign up. Okay, so I fill in all that. So at the end of that, I would have a list of the headlines. What photos, images, video do we have? What copy do I have on the page? So we could fill out a little bit more. So let's see, core values, content here. Talks about our core values. Another thing to think about here with content, we've got a testimonial quote. Oh, several testimonial quotes. So, well, I'm just going to write testimonial quotes. And what I have there. So you could actually copy and paste the exact content in here, or you could just say I need 3 testimonial quotes. So we can do this for an interior page as well. I won't actually go through it, but let's click, about. So I'm going to go to the about page. An about page is something you all have a home page. You all have a first page you go to. You all have an about page as well. So the about page is going to give some background information on our company, on our people. This will be the same if you have a portfolio website. It'd be about you. If you have a nonprofit, it's about your organization. So it might talk about your board or your leadership, the people that you have working with you. It might talk about the cause. So I can get each of these photos and jot those down, each of the headlines, each of the calls to action, and I could put all of those into this document. And I would recommend doing that for maybe 3 pages on the site. We're going to keep it fairly simple for this workshop series. I'd like to build out your first 3 pages on your website just to make sure that we keep the scope limited, so you have something working by the end of the workshop series, if at all possible. Okay, so you fill that out. If you want to do another benchmark site, you could. And then what you'll do, this last section here, your company. So what is your website address going to be? If you already have a domain name or you have a URL, put that in here. For headlines, so I'm going to go back and look. I could even copy and paste, and we're not going to plagiarize anything, but I can copy and paste in here and say, all right, these are the 3 headlines I need, and I'm going to replace this one with some description. I don't know. Let's see. Advice, resources, and support for first-time parents in Columbus. I don't know. So I'm totally mixing these up here because I did a benchmark site would not be relevant. But so let's say I have a nonprofit organization that I'm starting, and that's what's going to be. So I could replace each of those headlines, each of these headlines with something that relates to my organization. So what is it that we do? We work with... So you're going to fill in each of those. So I could, presumably this benchmark site that you choose, it would have similar content. I don't want you to reuse exactly any of their content, but hopefully you get the idea that there would be a something at the top of the page that tells exactly what it is that you do, or the about page that gives some sort of a slogan or some phrase that describes what we do. We need vision statement. We need a mission statement, so you could replace those with your vision, your mission statement. You need a photo of your team. And so if you just replace each of those things, you can copy the structure, the layout, without copying the actual content. So there isn't really none of you will build a website that is completely unique, that no one has ever done anything like it, the way that you lay it out, the copyright. You're taking little bits and pieces of things that you have seen on the web, and you're writing copy that's about your business, but there's an about page that you'll have. There will probably be a contact page. These things are not new concepts. You can find examples out there and borrow from those different examples to combine it into a unique site that is uniquely your organization. Okay, so that is the benchmark websites exercise. Just make sure we covered this. Copy the Google Doc template. You can click this link. We'll also make sure that gets sent out, and then do File, Make a Copy, so you have your own copy of it. Or you can download it if you'd like as a Google Doc or as a Microsoft Word doc or other format. And then you're going to find one or two competitor aspirational brand websites. So we talked about that these could be someone else who's doing the same thing that you're doing. They've been around a little bit longer. It could be someone in a different geographic market. Could be someone in a different industry. That's not ideal. If you're a nonprofit, you probably want to pick another nonprofit website, preferably with a similar impact area. If you're building a personal portfolio website, try and find someone else who has a similar skill set or similar career aspirations to you. If it's a company website, similar industry. We're going to list out the pages on the site. We're going to say the home page and pick 2 pages from the main navigation. You could do more if you'd like, if you want to be an overachiever here. This is a great exercise to do, but we want to limit the scope initially. So let's start with home page and 1 or 2 additional pages to begin with. For each page, we're going to gather those 4 things. Again, you can just copy and paste word for word what they have into our planning document, not to use on your website, but as a benchmark, so that we know what content do they have that you need to replace if you were going to follow that exact same formula, exact same process. And then that last section there of the document, start drafting your own content that replaces each piece of content from that other website that you worked on. So, all right, so that is one exercise that I think will help us to get started. And we need to be drafting content. We need to be gathering that information, thinking about what we want on our websites, because the number one reason that someone would come out of one of these workshop series without a working website is because you haven't actually put together content. You don't have the content, so that when it comes time to put it on the website, you may gain that information, that knowledge of how to do it. But if you don't have the content to put on your website, it won't get done. So we need to make sure you gather the content. To help you with crafting some of that content, if you're not quite ready to write it, we have a website planning activity. So again, we've got a document for you, this website workshop series questionnaire. You will open that document, file, make a copy, or you can download it. And what we want you to do is focus mostly on your business, your organization, you as a job seeker. What makes you different from others? And so let's start with that. The questionnaire will help you out with planning the content. And I'll give you a little preview what we hope to do with this questionnaire content. You'll draft answers to the questions, and coming out of that, we should be able to use those to feed AI to help us generate some more content. So those of you who really like writing, you may go ahead and write your own content, and that is fantastic. This questionnaire will just help you brainstorm, help you structure your thoughts. For those who don't know where to start, this questionnaire will get you started thinking about things, and then we can feed that into AI, whether that's ChatGPT or Copy.ai, Gemini, lots of different options for you. Pick your AI content generation tool of choice. So there's a second one. You'll have this website planning, website workshop series questionnaire to go through. Just briefly here, we'll look. So this is what that that questionnaire looks like. I'll ask you some questions. Just fill in some content. You should be able to then use this content to seed an AI content generator to help us get things started quickly. All right, so those are the main things that you need to bring with you. One other thing that I would like you to bring with you, if you have any passwords for systems, if you have purchased a domain name already, please bring the login information for that domain registrar so that we can help you work through that. If you don't know what a domain name is, that is okay too. We were going to talk about that in our first workshop. So if you have a domain registrar, if you have a web hosting account, please bring that with you. If you have any sort of content gathered, Word documents or Google Docs, photos, videos, anything, you want some digital repository. You want to be building up that content. So in addition to these two exercises, the benchmark sites and the content planning, what do we call it? The website planning questionnaire. We also want you to bring login information, and we want you to bring that actual content if you have any of it. You don't need it in the first workshop, but really start putting that together. Again, that's the top reason that someone would come out of the workshop series with us not having a working website is that you just didn't have content to put on the site. So start planning that. All right, so our workshop series schedule. We've got 4 workshops planned for you. Number 1 is around website fundamentals. We're going to be covering things such as domain names. What is a domain name? And how much do those cost to purchase domain names? The full workshop series is free. You don't have to pay us anything. When you want to buy a domain name, you have to buy that from a domain registrar. So we'll talk through that process, some tips about domain names and what makes for a good domain name. I'll answer some questions around that. Website hosting, you need hosting for your website, just a computer up on the internet that keeps your website up and running. So we'll talk a little bit about website hosting and DNS, some terms that you may want to know, fundamentals of what are the pieces and parts of a website, content management systems, the software that runs your website. So we'll talk through all those website fundamentals in the first workshop. The second workshop, we go deep into our content planning. We show you a lot of examples of websites and how they have done well, and some better than others. We'll give you some examples of sites where maybe they missed the mark in our opinion, and how you can do a little bit better on that. So help you to work on building out your content. The third workshop, now you need to make sure you've got content ready because we're going to jump into site building. That third workshop, we are actually building sites with you. So in this, because it's a fairly short workshop series, we can't go into extensive detail, and with a number of people in the class, we're not going to be able to build sites with you, but we would like you actually learning these site building tools. So depending on what platforms each of you chooses, we'll figure out in the workshop how we demonstrate. We don't want to dictate that you use any certain platform for your website. So we've got a number of different options for you. We use WordPress for a lot of our sites, but that's not the only option. We can look at Squarespace. Webflow is a great platform. Shopify if you're using e-commerce. But some of these tools do have costs associated with them. So we want to make sure you have plenty of choice, and whatever it is that you would like to choose, we want to help support you in how you build your site out. So that third workshop, we'll talk about actual site building. Each of the tools, they have some similarities between them, these different platforms. So we'll try to give you examples from a few different platforms, and we'll help you with whatever platform you've chosen. In the fourth workshop, we are talking about website evaluation. How do you test for the performance of your website? How quickly does it load? Is it accessible? Is it making sure that you follow accessibility guidelines for those with a visual impairment, or otherwise they need less movement on the site, higher contrast ratios. We'll talk about some accessibility. Also testing to make sure that your site's still available. If you build a website and your business relies on that website, it's a mission critical website for your business or organization, we want to make sure that stays up and running. So we'll talk about some different website testing tools and some ongoing things that you should do, always having a content calendar, what content you're going to write for a blog or what social media content you might write. we'll talk about some of those things of ongoing support for the website. And hopefully, after building out your content in the second workshop, and then actually building the site, putting that content onto a site in the third workshop, we can actually polish websites and maybe even launch some of those websites during that fourth workshop. So I'm excited about what we can do together here. We'll see you at the first class. It's Thursday, July 31st, 6 to 8 p.m. That is at Columbus Metropolitan Library Main branch on Grant Avenue. And we'll be in meeting room 3A, I believe. You can check when you get there. But 6 to 8 p.m. on Thursday, July 31st. Really looking forward to it. If you have any questions ahead of time, please feel free to email the Columbus Library staff, or you can email me, brad@buckeyeinnovation.com. I would be happy to answer questions, and I'm looking forward to it. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.